Shalom to nation Israel. This is Barzal coming in spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Racha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone and to the whole elect pushes word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. This one's titled "The Work Shall Cease." You know, the work shall cease, or you can even go into "Work shall cease." Famine is near. So there's two articles that I'm going to read briefly. I might read the whole article. So this first one, endtimeheadlines.org, it says farmers could soon be replaced by robots in new agricultural revolution, which we already seen this coming. Right, brothers had made videos in the past years about this. Never finally hear it because obviously it's just when you know, I'll say this: when you have vision and when you have the plan, the blueprint, the script, you know what's gonna come next. And then then you know the people, the actors, the characters in the movie. You know what their moves are gonna, what their you know the characteristics. You know how they think. You know what they're gonna do next. So yeah, we already seen that they're gonna do robots, of course. Of course they are. Because then you get to a point where there's gonna be what's it called? UBI, Universal Basic Income, right? So in the article it says, according to a report from the Daily Star, technology specialists are claiming that humanoid robots may soon take on many of the tasks traditionally performed by farmers. Well, of course, because that's going to save them money. Now I don't have to pay these farmers. I don't have to wait, the next day for things to get moving. No, I can do it all day long, right? All day long. I don't have to pay them anything. I don't have to pay robots. So it's always about convenience. Everything's about convenience. Take on many of the tasks traditionally performed by farmers, marking what they describe as the next major stage in agricultural innovation. Yeah, for the people that own the companies, for the people that own the farms, it is, but not for the workers. Because what are these workers going to do then? If they're going to have robots doing everything, what are the workers going to do? Robotics expert Professor Fernando Owat Sheehan from Harper Adams University in Shropshire said human-shaped robots share similar capabilities to people and could be programmed to handle multiple jobs far more quickly. See? About convenience. Everything's about convenience with Esau. And that's how you can get everyone to take the MOTB. It's going to come with a lot of convenience. Slakia. A humanoid has the same degree of freedom, the same ability as the human body, so we can program the robot not to solve one problem, but to solve many of them, he explained. Right? So it's be better than a human. That's what he's saying. And we can program it. There's no emotions. There's no getting tired. There's no any of that. There's no, I didn't get paid today, so I'm not working. It's just, you're going to work. And they're trying to say these are the reasons why, but these are surface level reasons for why they want to use robots. I'm not going to tell you the real truth behind the whole plan. These machines could harvest crops, plant seeds, prune plants, and complete other routine farm duties. Well, once the programming is refined, it could be copied across hundreds or even thousands of robots that would operate around the clock without rest. See, I didn't even read this article. This is my first time reading this article. But literally, that's what they're saying. You see, it's about convenience. It's about money. Because humans have to take a break. Humans have to rest. Humans have to eat. Humans get hurt. Humans, if they get hurt on the job, then that's workers' pay, workers' comp. I mean, a lot of those farming jobs are illegals, but, this is more stress, right? So they're like, no, we'll just take the stress away. Let's just get robots to do it. You don't have to hire these illegals anymore. Cheatin stressed that the goal is not complete replacement of human workers, but collaboration. Yeah, right. So what's the whole point of collaboration? Oh, sure. So you're telling me you're gonna want humans working with robots, and you're gonna keep paying the humans, but then spend money for these robots. and that's how you're gonna do it. No, they're gonna have that at first for the collaboration, right? And then they're gonna refine the robots to the point where now you don't need the humans there, because they're gonna have the humans there with the robots and see what are the humans doing that the robots can't do, right? Then they're gonna see, okay, so the robots can do all these things, but they still can't do this because only humans can do this right now. So we're gonna probably get robots to do that. Then they're gonna have the robot. They're gonna use the humans as a way to refine the robots to see what they're lacking, to see where they are efficient in, and over time they'll refine the robots where now you don't need the humans. Because remember, Esau is double-tongued, he's double-minded, right? He says one thing but he means another. So you can't believe that, oh, there's gonna be collaboration, humans still be working. Yeah, at first, temporarily they will, but you're just using that to refine the robots. The robot and ourselves in the same environment should coexist in some sense, and for that we need the robot to have social skills, he said, so we can deploy the humanoid to do the work that we can do. Right? So the robot's gonna have social skills. So they're taking them anyways. You humans are not gonna have jobs. Don't fall for the trap. You're gonna be on UBI because they're like, well, you're just an eater now. And that's why they're gonna delete a lot of you people, because they're like, we don't need all these. That's why they have the whole Georgia Guidestones. That's what that was about. 500 million people on the planet. That's their number that I guess with their equations they come into. That's how much people they need, how much workers they need. Right? The rest of you have to go. The development comes as high-profile farmers, including television personality Jeremy Clarkson, have already begun incorporating advanced technology in their operations. And his latest series, Clarkson was using modern tools to plow fields, plant onions, and analyze soil conditions. Like, don't get me wrong. In a balanced manner, yes, they would be used as tools, right, for workers. You can use a tool that helps you plant things a little bit faster. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Especially if you already know how to do it. But when you were replacing a big portion of all that, where that's what the worker was doing, like what they're talking about, right? Now you're removing the human away, right? But for the people that own the companies, those robots are tools, right? The humans are tools for the people that own the companies, the people that own the farms. Those are tools. That's how they look at it. Yeah, you can say servants, slaves, workers, employees, but they're tools. So on a bigger scale, the people that own the companies are looking at these robots as tools. They look at the humans as tools. So they're saying that these robots are more efficient tools than the humans. So let's replace the humans with a more upgraded, more efficient tool, right? Because what they're talking about here, about this guy that started doing the farming with technology, yeah, he started using more efficient tools with the workers. But eventually the workers are going to be replaced, because at the end of the day, for the farmer, the workers are tools too. They're tools that he commands, which are his servants, right? He owns them. Experts suggest the logical next step could be robotic versions of such farmers performing the physical labor. Oh, wow. See, look, I didn't even read that part. I did not even read that part. That's what experts are suggesting. Experts suggest the logical next step. So yeah, so the logical next step is to go to that. If you're going to do this, then you're going to go to that. Right? So one farmer offered a lighthearted reaction saying, I wouldn't mind having a robot to get up at 4 a.m. to plow the top field. If I can train it to lean on a gate, chew straw, and shout, get off my land, then happy days. Right? And like, as a farmer that owns a land, like let's say you're a farmer, you already have farming skills, you already know the farm, but then it's like, okay, you get this robot that does all this stuff for you. That's a little bit different. Right? That's something if you own your own land, you have a robot helping you on the farm. Cool. But they're talking about more about farmers that have employees that do the farming for them. So like, from the aspect of the farmer, the person that owns the land, owns the farm, it's good for them, right? It's good for them. You're gonna get your job done more efficiently. You save money. You don't have to pay workers, right? But for the worker, it's bad for you because they're replacing you. So then, where are you gonna work? Right? Where are you gonna work? Right? What are you gonna do? So you're gonna be eventually end up on UBI. Okay, so this is the other one. This is why I wanted to do two articles. Slovakia. Okay. So the next article. Things are declining in America at record speed. That's why I read the first one, because that first article is showing that things are declining because now you're replacing humans with robots. But in a carnal minded frame of thinking, you think things are inclining, things are increasing, things are getting better because now we're doing we're revolutionizing farming. We got robots. No, this is bad. This is not a good thing. But they don't see it as that, right? Maybe the average American looks at that as like, oh, this is great, man. We're looking at how revolutionizing farming. You think it's just gonna be in farming that they're gonna have robots? They're gonna have it in all these fucking jobs that you guys work, right? These blue collar jobs are gonna start to get robots there. So there's a lot of you are gonna start to lose jobs because they're like, well, we don't need you. We have a robot doing this. So this is not really good for you. It's good for the ones that own the companies. It's good for them, but not for you, the workers. And there's a scripture about that. So remember where it is. Okay, anyways, it says things are declining in America at record speed. Okay, so it says the economic shaking. 105 million Americans are not working. That's a lot. 100, and that's, I don't know if that number is 100% correct, but it's close to it. 105 million Americans are not working. They're not working. Not the traditional job. Hence why OnlyFans is booming, right? Because that's their work. They have to go there to make money because they can't find a job. So it's like they're taking money from the people that are working the actual jobs, right? So that OnlyFans becomes their job, right? Because when it says not working, what do they mean by not working? Not working a traditional job? It said foreclosures on the rise nationwide. Student loan defaults reach record high. More Americans report shoplifting as inflation climbs. And the 100 million, I know that's at least a portion of them is probably doing OnlyFans, because I don't know if they consider OnlyFans and stuff like that as work. But that's why you have more homeless. That's why you have more, like right there, it says more Americans report shoplifting as inflation climbs, right? That's probably why you have more shoplifting, because 105 million Americans are not working. So you're going to start shoplifting. It's already been happening. It's not always been reported, though. That's why you have to watch alternative news. You see the videos of people shoplifting at this place, shoplifting. They don't want to tell the whole country of America what's going on. So they kind of keep it. It's only if it happens in your local area that you'll know about that. Right? But it's almost like every state is like disconnected from each other, where they don't know exactly what's going on in that state. So that's how divided America is, where you don't even know what's going on. You might be in New York, but you don't know what's going on in California. Unless you have someone, relative or a friend that lives there, and they're telling you what's going on there. But you're like, yeah, this is not on the news that we over here. We don't see this in the news. That's how divided America is. It says Walmart now putting meat behind locked cages. Wow, that's wild. Because people are stealing. They're putting meat behind locked cages. AI facial recognition to identify potential suspects. So that's how you know America is declining, which is Babylon the Great. And when something's declining, when something's crumbling, you see the signs. Things start to shake. Things start to get more unstable, right? They try to do more, what's the word I'm looking for? They try to do more damage control, more talking, not less doing. They do surface level stuff to try to make it seem like things are being done, but it's not really being done, right? Then the blame shift, they'll try to shift blame on other people, That's how you know when things are crumbling. because the ones that are actually supposed to take responsibility for the what's going on, they don't want to take responsibility of it, so they want to blame somebody else. But I mean, like the scriptures say, pride comes before destruction. Before pride cometh before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. You know, the blind leave the blind. Roughly paraphrasing, they all fall into a ditch. You know, and gross darkness to people. So these guys are blind, and their blind ways has finally caught up with them. The Lord allowed them to finally catch up with them. So it says opinion, the warning signs are becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. Exactly. That's the thing. As it gets worse, for the people that are just blind, it's going to be right in front of their fucking face. And you're going to see that your economy is crashing. For the people that could see it years ago, they already knew this was going to happen. They can already see the signs because they have discernment. They have the ability to judge things, right? And that's why the prophets have discernment. That's why the prophets been telling you that this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. But you people didn't listen. They told you, we told you, Slacker, we told you in 2020 to not take the Icky Vicky, and you went and took it because we told you this is what happened down the road. Because some people did die, some people caught diseases that fucked them up for life, and then some people didn't. Nothing happened, and the people where nothing happened to them, they're like, "Oh, see, nothing's wrong." Yeah, nothing's wrong with you right now. Give it time. Give it time. A couple years later, my family took it. I told them not to take it. They took it. Now things are happening. That's all I'm going to say. Things are happening. That's not my problem. So you people don't fucking listen. So when they bring the MOTB, which is the micro RFID chip, right? You guys are going to look at it and run at it and just take it, even though we've been telling you for years, starting with the apostles and elders on down, to not take it. Right? So that MOTB is going to be like a problem solver for all the situations, all the stuff that's going on. Right? Because they, at the end of the day, the elites are the one that created this chaos in America. But they're going to bring the order. And part of the order is the NWO, right? And part of that is the MOTB, right? They're going to present it like this is the answer to all your problems, because things are going to get way worse. It's going to get worse. Things isn't bad. It's going to get worse. And they're going to have that as the answer to the problems. That's what they're going to have. We're going to have it as the answer to the problem. So like people are going to run at it because things are going to get so fucking bad. Because this is really nothing. It still hasn't gotten bad. When it starts to be like the Purge outside, the Purge, Mad Max, then okay, now it's bad. Now it's really fucking bad. But it hasn't gotten to that point yet. It's starting to get to that, based on what you're reading here. Anyways, continue to read. It says, difficult to ignore. Across America, troubling economic indicators are flashing red as millions remain out of the workforce. Foreclosures begin climbing. Student loan defaults reach record highs. Inflation continues to squeeze families. Retailers lock up everyday necessities, and AI surveillance rapid expands. Right? Because the retailers have to protect their money, so they have to lock up stuff in the stores because people are stealing them. People are stealing them because there's no jobs. Right? And also on the top, and then the ones that are working, they're also shoplifting too because of inflation. So they can't buy the normal stuff. Like the groceries, they have to decide between other groceries or paying the bills. So America's finished, man. Okay. Oh, so this is a podcast. Oh, okay. I thought it was like an article. Well, okay. Let me just read what it says. It says 105 Americans reportedly remain out of the workforce. Foreclosures rising across the nation. Student loan defaults reaching historic levels. More Americans admitting to shoplifting as inflation increases. So they're admitting to doing it. Walmart placing meat behind locked security gates. The rapid expansion of AI. Okay. It says why these trends could signal deeper instability ahead. Exactly. So the prophets can see that. If you're seeing this happen, that means things are going to get way worse. Thinking that America's, the leaders are eventually just going to correct this, and they're not going to do that. Because the question is, why did they even let it get this bad? Right? Because they're not doing what needs to be done, because they don't care to do what needs to be done. It says, what Bible prophecy says about economic uncertainty in the last days? How believers should prepare spiritually in times of growing global instability. Well, how you should prepare spiritually is by cleaving unto the Lord, cleaving unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, or Yahweh Yahushai. That's the only way, right? You're going to be stable. And it says stability. So, that just coined me to go in. Well, I can just quote it. It's Isaiah 33:6. Wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy times, and the fear of the Lord is his treasure. So with wisdom and knowledge, right, and understanding, you're going to be stable in the coming up unstable times, right? In the coming up global instability, you're going to be stable because you have wisdom and knowledge, which also includes understanding, because you fear the Lord. But the other people that don't fear the Lord are not going to be stable they're not going to be stable in an unstable environment, because our environment's becoming more unstable, more unstable. So you have to become more stable, more grounded, more rooted, right? More understanding, more knowledge, with understanding should be flowing to you, right? Because then you'll know what to do to stay stable, because that's, you know what I mean? So like, it's all connected. Right. If for another example, like let's say we got an alert that an earthquake was coming, right? Someone who has knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is going to be stable in that unstable time of fear and terror about the earthquake. They're going to know what to do because they're going to be stable. So they're going to be clear-minded. Someone who doesn't know what to do, who doesn't have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, is going to be unstable in that time. They're going to be panicking, freaking out, and they're not going to do anything, and then they're going to get caught up in the earthquake. Right? Same thing with what's coming up with the famine of the word. You people, right? You people that are not going to get this word anymore, you're going to be unstable. Right? Because finally, when things get really bad, from what we were telling you over the years, you're going to turn to the prophets, start looking for the prophets. Where are you guys? Well, but we're going to be gone. Right? So you had the opportunity to become stable, to be stable-minded, right? To get knowledge, wisdom, understanding. You didn't want to get it. So it's too bad. That's your fucking problem. Anyways, it says the Bible repeatedly warns that the last days will be marked by economic turmoil, societal upheaval, and increasing systems of control. While we should avoid fear and speculation, we are also called to remain watchful, discerning the times, while placing our hope firmly in Hamashiach. Which, I mean, I wouldn't say. It says while we should avoid fear and speculation. Well, you should avoid fear of anything else out of Yahweh Yahushai, right? Speculation is just being circumspect. So you do have to speculate things. But fear, the only thing you should fear is Yahweh Yahushai. That's it. Everything outside of Yahweh Yahushai, that's unnecessary fear, right? There's nothing wrong being cautious. Cautious is being circumspect. Caution is not fear. Fear is different. Caution is caution. You're being cautious. But anyways, so yeah. So things are going to get worse, man. Things are going to get worse, and are getting worse. And you people that didn't want to fucking listen, well, it's too bad for you. It's too bad. So let's go back. Ecclesiastes. No, that's not what I want. Well, actually, I'm going to read that. Slakia. 1 second. Right, so Ecclesiastes 12:5. It says, also when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way. That's what we were just talking about, right? And the almond tree. That's not the one I wanted, though. Okay, Slack is verse 4. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird. So, like, the doors be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, right? Doors being shut, I mean, business is closing, right? Business is closing. Another way you can look at doors being shut is like People are not hiring. People are not hiring. They're not looking for workers, you know, because part of it is because they're going to have robots. They're not going to need humans because humans cost money that they're not willing to spend on it. I got my robots. I don't need any workers, you know, because the sound of the grind is low. So jobs are going to be very low. It's going to be hard to find jobs. I just showed you those the two articles. 105 million Americans are not working. 105 million. That's 105 million people in the country of America are not working. So then how are they surviving? They're going to have to steal. They're going to have to take money, go to grocery stores and steal. So to have a job right now is a blessing, right? In America and, in other countries too, other neighboring countries. Because if that's what's going on in America, it's going to happen the same thing in countries that are like pretty much next door to America, right? It might not be as bad, but it's bad. It's going to be bad, but it's not going to be as bad because Babylon's Babylon, right? And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. So that's also why music is at an all-time low. The music industry is at an all-time low. All-time low. Now I'm curious to see what it says in the NLT. So let's do that. Right? Have you heard the music today? I don't even listen to it. There's new artists. I don't know their names. Don't care to know their names. Don't want to listen to it. I remember back in the day when I was younger, we used to watch music videos. Like you had 106 in Park, right? You actually be excited to watch the music video. Now that shit doesn't happen now. Especially because the music videos is like AI. They can just AI generate everything. So it's like, what's the whole point? Back then it was actually choreography, actual dancers. There was actual time put into this. Even though the music, if we go into a conversation about the music was wicked. Because, what happens behind closed doors and it's witchcraft and all the other images and all that stuff, that's a whole nother conversation. But when it comes to the actual music, like the time that was put into the music, it was more high quality. Now it's just garbage. Like, and I say high quality, I mean like the lyrics. Now it's just garbage. It's garbage. It's just complete garbage. So I don't know what is going on here. That's not what I want. So, okay, I just want to change this to NLT. Slakia. So there we go. Okay. It says, remember him before the door to life's opportunities. Ooh. Oh, interesting. Oh, ooh, this is different. So Ecclesiastes 12:4, it said, remember him before the door to life's opportunities is closed. So what's the door to life's opportunities? This truth. Yahweh Shai is really the door. Yahweh Shai is the door to life's opportunities. And how do you get Yahweh Shai? Through this truth, through the men of the Lord, really the men of GMS, right? Right? The apostles, elders on down, and teachers of GMS. That they are the you can say what's it talk about? The security. They're the security. They are the doorman. Right? They're the doorman to life's opportunities. And they don't even really open the door. They just see if you're on the list. Right? They don't control whether you're on the list or not. This is the door. This is what's the life's opportunities on the other side. Let's see if you're on the list, right? I don't make the list. I just read who's on the list. Even go further, it's not even like it's on the list. They just show you what the door is. You have to open the door. If the door opens for you, then it opens for you. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. But anyways, remember him before the door to life's opportunities is closed. So exactly. So this truth, we're in a grace period right now. So the door to life's opportunities is coming into this truth, but eventually it's going to be closed very soon, actually, very soon. Not like before we were saying soon, very soon. Like it could be weeks. I wouldn't even say months. I think it's going to be weeks with what's going on. It's going to be weeks, at least over where I'm at, yeah, because anything can happen. Anything can happen. So And it says, remember him, remember who? Remember Yahweh Yahushai, right? And it says, and the sound of work fades. Exactly. And the sound of work fades because the door to life's opportunities for you to find a way to be surviving in this unstable, unstable environment is through Yahweh Yahushai. He's the one that's going to get you a job or put you in a situation where you're going to be able to eat and drink. Because what does the scripture say about his men? It says his servants shall eat and drink. Well, to eat and drink, one way of eating and drinking is working, to having money come in, right? Obviously, there's going to be a point of time where you're not going to be, I mean, it depends on the brother, but eventually, you know, you're not going to, any brother really, because you're going to have to need the MOTB. You're not going to be able to work. So in that time, when I'm talking about like down the road, you know, the Lord's still going to feed you. But right now, there's another way of feeding you is having a job, right? Having a job. That's one way, right? And the sound of work fades. Now you rise at the first chirping of the birds, but then all the sounds will grow faint. Exactly. All the sounds will grow faint. People going to work, cars being turned on, people going to work. That's all going to stop. It's going to be a similar example of that is during COVID, that time, lockdowns and stuff like that. You didn't hear cars on the road. If you were driving on the road, it was amazing because there was nobody on the road. You drove on the highway, you were getting to places very quickly. That was the best time to drive, right? Okay. Oh, let me read verse 5. It says, verse 5, remember him before you become fearful of falling and worry about danger in the streets. Exactly, because you remember Yahweh Yahushai. So remember Yahweh Yahushai is turning back, right? Right, turn back. It says before you become fearful of falling and worrying about danger. Exactly, because things are getting worse in the streets. Right, things will get fucking worse. Before your hair turns white like an almond tree in bloom. Yeah, that's from a lot of stress. You're stressed the fuck out because you don't know what to fucking do. And you drag along without energy like a dying grasshopper. Holy, gee, damn. And the capeberry no longer inspires sexual desire. So I didn't know a caperberry. Right, so you're just gonna be completely dead. Your body's not gonna function properly. You're gonna be completely finished. So he's saying, remember him before these things happen, right? Turn back to the Lord before these things happen, right? Turn back to the Lord to prevent these things from happening, right? To prevent them. Remember him before you're near the grave, your everlasting home, when the mourners will weep at your funeral, right? It says, verse 6, yes, remember your creator now while you are young, before the silver cord of life snaps and the golden bull is broken. Don't wait until the water jar is smashed at the spring and the pulley is broken at the well. Exactly. Right. So right now, this truth. Let's say you're someone on this that can, you know, you're watching the videos of men doing the videos. You're watching them at camp, and you still haven't come in. You don't have a lot of time because the next step, we're already in the family of the word has already started. The notice, it's already on notice. You've already been on notice. It's already started. So that's why I said weeks. It could be weeks. So you're still sitting there looking, watching videos, debating, oh, you know, I don't know if I want to come in, like, you know, people are going to see me. Like, you don't have a lot of time, my friend. You do not have a lot of time. Now, the NLT, this was I never read an NLT for that scripture. Okay. So then it talked about famine. I mentioned famine. Like, there's going to be a spiritual famine and there's going to be a physical famine, right? A carnal famine and inflation. Right? So here it says, Revelation 6:6, it says, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine, which oil and the wine is the truth, right? And a measure of wheat for a penny. So a measure of wheat, right, is going to be worth a penny, which a penny is a day's wage, right? And 3 measures of barley for a penny, 3 measures of barley is for a day's wage, right? And I'll just prove that. All you have to do is go in NLT. You can go and click the interlinear. I think that's how you pronounce it. It'll explain it, but I'll just go to NLT and it'll just literally just explains it the correct way. He breaks it down the right way. So it says, and I heard a voice from among the four living beings saying, a loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay, right? And don't waste the oil, the olive oil and the wine. So don't waste his truth. So a loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay. So let's say I went to work and I made $200 that day, right? With that $200, I can only buy a loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley. That's hyperinflation. Because the prices in the stores have gone up because the value of the dollar has gone down. Right? That's hyperinflation. That's one way that's going to happen. Another way is going to be scarcity, because scarcity is going to happen because of the lack of food, right? Because you have the ports are being cut off. Things are not going to be coming in to the ports, right? The farming industry, things are be like there's going to be scarcity. A lot of farms, you're noticing a lot of like meat packaging places are on fire, egg packaging places are on fire, or now there's a potential salmonella contamination with eggs, so they had to call back 19 million eggs. So like that's going to cause scarcity, which is going to also cause the prices to go up, right? So the price is going to go up for 2 different reasons. It's not going to be just from hyperinflation. It's also because of scarcity of resources. But it's more so hyperinflation. That's the main driving force, is hyperinflation. And then what's also going to happen is you're going to have the scarcity, like famine of stuff like resources. You're not going to be able to get certain things because they're just not going to be there, right? They're not going to be able to get it into the country because of the ports. Because you're seeing on a global geopolitical standpoint, America is burning all their allies. So then they're not going to get any stuff imported. Right? If you're not getting stuff imported, what's going to happen? Your country's going to start to die. Right? Because now you're going to have less food on the tables, less food on the shelves, which then you're going to have to jack up the people that own the stores are going to have to put up their prices. But so that's why I'm saying they're going to put up their prices for 2 reasons. It's not going to be just from hyperinflation. It's going to be from the lack of resources. So that America's done, man. And Babylon is done. Last one, just to show you what happens in a famine when there's lack of resources, the prices go up. That's why I'm saying it's not just going to be from hyperinflation, it's also going to be a lack of resources. So here, 2 Kings, actually it's up here. No. Yeah, there we go. The siege of Samaria, cannibalism. So because of that, cannibalism is going to happen because people are not going to have food. I just showed you in those articles where they're locking up meat. So if you can't get the meat, right, and then the shelves are going to be empty with other foods, what do you think people are going to do? They're going to resort to eating humans, right? Because not everyone's going to be, if you're locking up meat, not everyone's going to be getting that meat, right? So they're going to resort to eating humans. And Americans are the most undisciplined people on the planet. And when it comes to like fasting, not eating for a couple of days, you think those people can't handle that? They can't handle not eating for a couple of hours. Let's not talk about days. So they're going to resort to cannibalism. The same thing that happened here is going to happen in Babylon. Right? So the siege of Samaria, cannibalism. 2 Kings 6:24. And it came to pass after this that Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, gathered all his hosts and went up and besieged Samaria. And there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it until an ass's head, so this is like a donkey's head, right? A head of a donkey was sold for 80 pieces of silver. So I think that's 40 pieces, 80. That's 40 pieces of silver. A donkey's head. That's a lot of fucking money. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So these people in a famine, the ones that own the grocery stores are the ones that get rich, right? The ones that own resources, really. The ones that own essential resources are going to get rich. So even water, you have a water factory or something like thing that controls water, you're going to get rich, right? Food, Farms, you're gonna get rich. That's why all these guys, these corporations are buying out farms. There's a reason why they're doing that. That's why they're buying out water filtration plants. There's a reason why they're doing that, because they know what's coming. Because they're part of the ones that are doing it, right? And if they're not directly doing it, they are working with the people that are doing it. So they tell them like, hey, buy this, da 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 da. So they make those moves. That's why Bill Gates bought up farms. Why do you think he's doing that? Because he just likes farming? Because he knows what's coming. You own the farms. That's an essential resource. Agriculture. That's what they're shifting to, agriculture now. It says, and the fourth part of a cab of a dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver. So a dove shit was sold for money. People were eating dove shit. That's how desperate they were desperate they were to eat. They're eating dove shit. Like, you had to think about what frame of mind you had to be in to say, I'm gonna go eat this pigeon shit or dove shit or bird shit for food. That, you know how fucked that is? So that's why it says cannibalism. Because some people are like, oh, I'm not eating dove shit. I'm not eating, it's just, they're looking at a human as food. Bro. And this is going to happen to Babylon. This is going to happen to Babylon. Well, I will keep reading so you can see. Anyways, I'll keep reading. It says, and as the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall, there cried a woman unto him, saying, help, my lord, O king. And he said, if the Lord Yahweh Yahushai do not help thee, whence shall I help thee? He said, like, if the Lord's not helping you, what makes you think I can help you? You know? Out of the barn floor or out of the winepress. And the king said unto her, what aileth thee? And she answered, this woman said unto me, give thy son that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. Like bro, it's like she's asking for help, and then this is what she's saying. This is the problem she needs help with. He's just sitting here like, what the fuck? Like, where the fuck are we? This is what, holy fucking shit. So you're gonna see what he does next. So I'll read it again. And the king said unto her, what aileth thee? And she answered, this woman said unto me, give thy son that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. It's like, bro. So we boiled my son and did eat him. Oh my gosh. Bro. Like, he's sitting here listening to this. She's telling him this. This is the scenario that she has a problem with. Like, can you solve my problem? That's the frame of mind. Like, that's the frame of mind this woman's in. She's like, this is just a normal conversation she's having with him. Oh man. And this is coming to America. This is coming to America. And it's me times 7. Right? 7 for completion. So we boiled my son and did eat him. And I said unto her on the next day, give thy son that we may eat him. And she hath hid her son. She actually did something righteous. She hid her son. But I mean, she still did something wicked where she ate the other woman's son. Oh boy. And it said, and it came to pass when the king heard the words of the woman that he rent his clothes and he passed by upon the wall, and the people looked, and behold, he had sackcloth within upon his flesh. Exactly. He's just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is crazy. Bro, we've come to an all-time low. So anyways, that's it on that. So this is coming to America. This is already starting in America. We can already see the fires brewing in America, right? And around the world, but more importantly, America. And, you know, if you don't remember the Lord, like I read in NLT, if you don't remember the Lord, you're fucked. You're fucked. You're just fucked. Like, there's no way out. It doesn't matter if you're a prepper, I have my bunker, I have 3 years, 5 years worth of food. It doesn't matter. What makes you think you're going to make it to that bunker? Right? What makes you think you're going to make it to that? You think you're going to, because you're thinking that your plan in your head is that, okay, this is my plan. What makes you think you're going to make it to that bunker? Right? What makes you think you're going to make it to that bunker? That bunker, you're probably just setting up for one of the men of the Lord. That's all, you're just saving that food from one of the men of the Lord. Right? And his family. That's it. That's all that's going on there. So anyways, that's it on that. Like the close I was saying, Kahala Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Bahashem Rakakwadash. The honors of the apostles, great millstone, and to hopefully like push his word and truth and sincerity across the 4 corners of the earth. Abad Babal, Kwame Inshallah and Shalom.